Okay, we are back, hopefully. That was funny. That was funny what happened there. Yeah, let's see if people can find this live stream. Yeah, wasn't that ironic? I talked about free speech, and the YouTube closed down my live stream. Yeah, and it's I would normally say that it was just my connection, but it was not my connection, and this has happened far too many times now. So I'm kind of thinking that it kicks in when I say certain words. And I used an example. Now I know that there are no humans listening to this. It's the AI, fucking AI, doing this probably. And I said a good example of something that should not be allowed on the internet is how to make a bomb. Yeah, I said it again. And I refuse to talk in such a way that I cater to the AI. I'm literally saying that there are things that should not be included in free speech because we're not idiots, right? So a good example, and this is the most common example, right? There shouldn't be recipes for making bombs for terrorism out there on the internet. I'm sure probably you can probably find it, but I don't know. I'm not going to make a bomb, but that's an example of something that should not be on the internet, right? Okay, so right, yeah. Um, and Paddy is going on and on about blasphemy and pornography. Pornography is, I think, if you have ever watched pornography on the internet, uh, which I think most people have, um, I think that saying that it should be not allowed is a little bit odd. Um, if you are watching it, then, but when it comes to blasphemy, only states that we don't want to compare ourselves with have blasphemy laws in effect now. Blasphemy, Paddy, is not abuse. Your feelings actually doesn't matter. So if I want to say that Satan and Muhammad are a gay couple in hell, or Jesus was, no, well, whatever. I should be allowed to say that. Do I think that those statements are sensible or useful? No, not really. But we shouldn't have laws against that. And if you really want that, Paddy, you should move to, Iran or Saudi Arabia. Yeah, I'm sure you'll enjoy it there. They have blasphemy laws. So, yeah, there are places where you can enjoy that. The problem is, of course, that I suspect that it's not that religion you care about, it's your own religion, right? So, it's funny how that works. Are we going to have blasphemy laws for all religions? or just some of them. Well, you can say whatever you like about Odin. I don't care. I'm a Norse heathen, but you can say whatever you like. You can say, "Oh, Odin was really gay." Yeah, yeah. Well, I don't care. You know, I don't care what you say. I'm not that insecure in my. I'm not. I'm not insecure in myself. Yeah, okay, Paddy. Yeah, you want blasphemy laws for the true Catholic religion. Okay, I think you kind of proved the point. Maybe you know. Oh, you're one of those. Yeah, Norway had blasphemy laws until it rejected its Catholic faith. Are you drunk? I mean, sorry, I stepped right into that stereotypical thing there. um, Norway had blasphemy laws for a long time after they were no longer a Catholic faith nation. But anyway, we'll leave that. I hope that you get better, Paddy. So, yeah, free speech again. Just to recap what I was talking about before I was closed down. JD Vance criticized. I won't repeat myself again because I have the other live stream there um, about that. But JD Vance, he was not wrong when he called out Europe for limiting free speech. I mean, in the UK, you can have the police knocking on your door if you say something that goes against the official narrative, and they come there to check your thinking. And I'm like, what the hell? You know, that's too much 1984. You know, that's too much 1984. It's ridiculous. And when you have acceptance for that, and we see that mostly in two groups, people far left politically, and the religious conservative people. So that would be in Europe mostly, then Christian conservatives and Muslim conservatives, and they want their feelings protected, their hurty little feelings, and they call that blasphemy, like Paddy said, blasphemy laws. um, and it's we don't want to go there. We have been there. You know what they did with people who were charged with blasphemy? They still do that in many, many Muslim countries. What do they do with those people? Can you guess? Altera says, I'm sure they gave them tea and cookies. Yeah. It's not a pleasant subject. It really isn't. Well, we're talking capital punishment. We're talking torture. It's when you go down that road and you want blasphemy laws, then you are going down the wrong road. I can tell you that. So it's if you're so insecure in your faith that you can't have people criticizing that faith or even mocking your faith, then how much of a believer are you? Maybe not so much. Yeah. Yeah. I think that we have to look at the chat a little bit. Now, of course, I need to say that the politicians, the leaders, as they like to call them in Europe, the most important message from J.D. Vance was that the USA is kind of divorcing Europe in the sense that they will no longer contribute with their military. I think that's just not true. I think that the USA is absolutely interested in contributing in a military sense when there is money to be made, when there is power to be gained. And you'll see, you know. But yeah, I just wanted to focus on the free speech thing because he's obviously right. He's obviously right. So, yeah, well, Tom, yes, draw a picture of Muhammad and they cry their eyes out. Yeah, they get very angry. It's yes, but if I'm not mistaken, you know, you have the 10 Commandments in Christianity, but there are different versions of those. And in at least one of those versions, one of the commandments is, if I'm not mistaken, I don't think I am, that you should not uh, have images of images of God, right? So it kind of looks a little bit like that, but yeah. How is the condition of free speech in Germany? Laura, I don't know. I don't know for sure. Vin Lago says, it is better to have questions that cannot be answered than answers that cannot be questioned. Yes, well said. Yeah, Justin says the Catholic Church is the Pope's church, not the Lord's church. Yeah, well, I am luckily able to be outside of that conflict, of course. Yeah, Laura says, I think it's an important attribute to have. Free speech means you can burn our Bible, flag, whatever, sticks and stones. Yeah, exactly, Laura. And you know, it's like you can come to Norway or Sweden and you can stand in the town square and you can burn the Bible, you can burn the Quran, and so on. Of course, if you burn the Bible, nobody, well, I won't say no. I was going to say nobody cares, but some people care about that. Personally, I think it's stupid to burn books, but anyway, I absolutely think that it should be legal. It's part of free speech. We have had this guy, he is regularly, very often, burning the Quran in the public space, and the police protect him. He's mostly in Sweden doing that, and he should be able to do that. Do I agree with that? I tend to think it's a little bit silly to do that, but I get his point, he's trying to prove a point. Nobody's harmed by someone burning a book. And Muslims need to understand that to anyone who is not a Muslim, it's just a book. It's just a book. It's like the Bible for me. It's just a book. I will say it's an important book that people should read. One of the books that you should read, but to me, it's just a book, you know? If you want to burn the Bible, go ahead, burn the Bible. If you want to burn the Quran, go ahead and burn the Quran. If you want to set fire to a god pole, a god pole is on the, hold on, there above my thumb. That on a pole, like that's old in there. Go ahead and do that. If you want to mock the old Norse gods, you can do that. It doesn't harm me or anyone. And I wish everyone had that mindset. If everyone had that mindset, you wouldn't have idiots burning the Quran in town square, of course, because what they're doing is they're trying to provoke, and they are succeeding. And EarthLab USK says, Christianity don't want to kill you, Islam does. It's very simple. Christian kings and so on, they certainly wanted to kill you in the past, but not now. Christianity is very benign now compared to Islam. And it needs to be mentioned that one of the people in Sweden who regularly burned the Quran, he was killed doing a live stream. While he was doing a live stream burning the Quran, he was killed. So that it just goes to show that at least there are. It's wrong to say that Muslims don't respect freedom of speech. That would be generalizing too much. But it is correct to say that many people in that call themselves Muslims, they don't respect freedom of speech. So, yeah. Let's see here. I see your comment, shining knocked owls. Yeah, and okay, yes. So I'll just hold on. And also stealth mode. I see a comment. I will just quickly, before I respond to the other comment, I will say that the intelligent thing is to be curious, to be respectful about other people's beliefs, to be we can all learn from each other. And I will say that there are beautiful things in Islam, and there are beautiful things in Christianity, there are beautiful things in Buddhism, and so on and so on. You can find that if you look for it. It doesn't, I mean, I believe in that peace is a good thing, so we should try to find common ground instead of trying to find how we are different all of the time. That's my personal opinion. And we shouldn't take ourselves so seriously, It's just not, we shouldn't. Shining Knockouts, you're saying that you met those on hiking trails in the inland PNW. Where is that? who were aggressive when I would speak of pagan views, but they actually eventually softened when they understood my perspective. Um, I'm not. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's good. That's good. Bree up here says, let's worry about present day radicals. Yeah, who are the present day radicals? It's not difficult to answer that question. It's the Islamists. And we can look at, typically the American Christian nationalists and the craziest of those, and we can, we will shake our head, but they're not going to kill you, you know. So I mean, the Islamists, they are on a completely different level because they go out and kill people in the name of their God. So yeah, exactly. Let's see here. Um, let's see. Okay, PNW is Pacific Northwest. Thank you. Vinicius Tor says, what do you think about other heathenry paganism around the world, other countries practicing and even adopting Norse beliefs, for example? Well, I think that's good. I don't think, if your question is about should it be only for Scandinavian people, no, I think that's good that people adapt that. I don't think it's good if it's used for nefarious reasons. You know what I mean? I don't think that's good. And there are racists, I have to say, sadly, and I'm using that word in its proper sense, like proper racists, right? In the true meaning of that word, who are carrying the Mjolnir, the Thor's hammer, and so on. They're marching in the streets, and so it annoys me incredibly to see that. If you want to be a proper racist, why do you? I mean, almost any other uh, belief system would be better than the Norse heathen one. Um, I mean, who carried that hammer? Thor did. And Thor was a mixed race individual, or is, if you will, half Jotun, half Aesir. So, yeah, Sir Whitemeat is asking, what do you think about the TV show Vikings that had a black female Earl? Yes, that in itself is a reason for me not to watch that, so I haven't. But yeah, I mean, I lack words to describe it. If I think a pagan who believes in the old gods cannot be racist, no, of course they can be racist. But it's an ill-fitting belief system for racism, simply because these deities in the pantheon are always like interbreeding with other races, if you will, and so on. I don't see how a racist person would be okay with that, you know. Who are the jotnene? Well, they are they are a one of the humanoid uh, races, if you will, and they are often called giants. That's not entirely correct to translate it that way, um, but they are more chaotic. They're more primitive. They're more violent, and so on. And they are the ones that Thor will. He's the protector of mankind, and he will fight the Jotnene, um, and so on. And generally viewed as bigger than the Aesir and the Vanir. But not always. Yes, exactly, Justin. They could be beautiful at the same time. Well, you have Skade, which is Njord's wife, estranged wife, because she liked the mountains and he liked the sea, so they couldn't really work that out. And she's a Jotne, but beautiful, wild, fiery Jotun women. Nothing wrong with that. um, yeah. Let's see here. Yeah, well, in the name of free speech, you can say that you like racism if you want to. I disagree, but I'll defend your right to say that. Laura, I agree. I don't like it either when they are calling it Norse mythology. So I'm like this, either I will say Christian mythology, and I have in the past. I will say Islamic mythology, and so on. I will say that if people keep saying Norse mythology, I hope that you all have noticed I usually say the Norse belief system. And there's a reason for that. That's the reason. No, I'm not easily offended because of that. I'm trying to be correct in my words here. Or Space Monkey, maybe you're talking about the Muslims and the Christians. They don't like that so much when I say Christian mythology. But well, if we look at the big world religions, obviously, well, Christianity is a good example. If you read the Bible, which I think everyone should, you will see that there are stories there that are obviously mythology. Obviously mythology. And then you have the story of Jesus, which is most likely based on someone who actually lived. And it's like, did he walk on water? No. That's impossible. I know that, he was the son of God and all of that, but let's just, I mean, let's just assume that he was as influential and important in his time as many people will say. Then we can assume that people at the time and after his death would have made up stories, and stories, they grow as they are being told and retold. And probably there are many more stories that never got written down. that doesn't take anything away from the importance of that figure, that concept, and so on. And I made a video about that on the main channel that some people have seen, you know. But yeah, we're not allowed to say Christian mythology, but we can say Norse mythology. And I'm okay. You can say Norse mythology, but then I will say Christian mythology. But I think it's more correct to say the Christian religion or belief system and the Norse belief system. Why do I not say the Norse religion? Because it's not really a religion in that sense. The correct word would be sed, which is an Old Norse word that kind of could be translated to customs, not when you go into a different country and pay a tax, but customs, habit, and so on, because it was ingrained in how you saw the world in your daily life and so on. Yeah. Did the Pope die just now? Did he? I know that he was in hospital, but okay, well, we will find out after this, I guess. Okay. No, I shouldn't have said that. Now everyone will leave the live stream to go and check on the news. But yeah. Now let's go back to the free speech thing. I think now that we have gotten into Christianity and all of that, well, thank you, Sir Whitemeat. One thing that should be discussed is something that has been called censorship in the USA. It's not really censorship, but yeah, let me explain, okay? So the same people like the J.D. Vance and that administration, they are banning books, they say, from school libraries. Let's get things straight here, okay? So those books are, as far as I've heard, about books about transgender things, and there was a book written by this wonderful actress about a girl who learns to love her freckles, which, I mean, so that's an insane example, right? What's wrong about that? So, but anyway, so they say in the news here, it says they are banning books. Let's get things straight here. They are not banning books when they are saying that these books should not be in a school library. Let me explain why that is not banning books, but it's still problematic. Okay, it's not banning books when you say that these and these books should not be in school libraries, because many books will never be bought. They buy these books to have them in the libraries, and they can't buy every book published. So, for instance, my books are bought by the libraries here in Norway. But they're not in all school libraries because, for instance, I mean, the vast majority of my books are not for kids. you know. So in a children's school, you will probably not find my books. That doesn't mean that my books are banned. It just means that they're not appropriate for a 10-year-old, for instance. So it's not banning books. They have to make a selection for these libraries. And I think it's a good thing that they look at books that are explicit when it comes to sex, whether that be normal, well, what's normal sex? Whether that be heterosexual sex or transgender issues or whatever. It's like when when you're a little kid, you shouldn't have that. It's too early for those kids, right? So it's not banning books when you make a sensible decision that we don't need educational books about sexual behavior in this school where for these 10-year-old 8-year-olds. That seems to me sensible, right? I think that sex education for kids should be like little kids should only be about safety, how to be safe online and how to so that they can avoid the sexual predators out there. Okay. But that's kind of beside the point here. They're not banning books, but it looks like they are trying to get rid of certain books in school libraries altogether. And that's a problem when it becomes unscientific. So, for instance, if they go down that road with uh, the biblical understanding of how the world was created, and that's what they should teach in schools, then you're in muddy waters, to say the least. The schools should be secular, sensible, and age appropriate, and so should their libraries be. Um, so they're not banning books, but it is problematic if they are going in there and they are dictating, they are deciding, the government is deciding that the libraries should not have these and these books. I hope that I explained this the right way. Uh, um, yeah, Divinia, there's a difference between educational books and pornography. When I was in school, there were one book, I think, about how children are made. And you could, if you put the book like with the spine of the book on the table and you let it open itself, it would always open on that one illustration about, well, a man and a woman sleeping together, and then it would go, that's, that was so naughty back then. Yeah. So, yeah, as if we didn't know already. Let's see here. Yeah, okay. Tech test. You say in Hungary they have already banned any LGBTQ and similar books even in shops. I will say that the focus on the LGBTQ thing, it's far too much. It's far too much. And I think we all understand, not all of us, but most of us, we understand that kids are being influenced by this. And they say, these people, they will say that, well, kids, they won't become trans just because they are exposed to books about transgender issues. Well, actually, if you look at the statistics, especially for girls who want to transfer, girls who want to become boys, which they never will, but it spreads. The statistics show us that it's lumped together in schools, in communities. It's like it's infectious. Not saying it's a disease, but it seems like it inspires other girls to want the same. Now, I'm not going to attempt to explain what's going on there, but those numbers don't lie. They don't. So maybe when they say that, well, when they're exposed to transgender issues, it doesn't, if they're not already transgender, they won't become transgender. Well, these numbers show us that it's not that simple. It's not that simple. So, yeah, my opinion is that we should rather have a much wider spectrum, if you will, of what it means to be a man, what it means to be a woman. I wasn't prepared to talk about this, but okay. I think it's obviously perfectly fine to be quite feminine as a man. You can be quite feminine. You're still a man. That's fine. Or you can be a girl and be quite masculine. That's fine as well. And I think we are seeing now that there is less acceptance for that. And there is more jumping to the solution, which is not a solution, I believe, at least not for kids, to take hormones to operate on these people, which we will be judged for by people, by coming generations. It will be seen as one of the atrocities of mankind. So it's not like I'm a fool. Well, some will say I am, but I think I get that it must be difficult to not fit into that standard image of the man, or being a man, or being a woman. I guess I'm quite, masculine in a traditional way. Most men are, because we are men. And it's not like I try to be like this. This is just how I am. And I think the guys there they feel the same. So we don't have to, it's easier for us. I get that. We fit in society's vision of how a man should be, I guess. But So yeah, it's some would say, what do you know? What you don't know what you're talking about. You don't know how difficult it is when you don't fit in like that. And yeah, that's probably right. But let's work on that, work on our understanding, and our acceptance of being different within um, those categories, those two categories of man and woman, instead of giving people hormones. You know, at least that's where we should start. At least, um, yeah. Uh, okay. I haven't heard from Poppy. No, I don't think Poppy likes me. Yeah. Well, um, I've done 2 live streams now because of the connection, which failed. So I think that's quite enough for now. I want to thank you for joining here. And if you're just listening to this on replay, then consider subscribing to this channel. If you're still listening after almost 47 minutes. Come on. This was interesting, wasn't it? So consider subscribing, you know, and I'll be back suddenly. Yeah. Uh, Actually, tomorrow I will have a video on my main channel. Link in the video description. So tomorrow in Norwegian time, tomorrow evening. Yeah. Okay. Have a wonderful day or evening. We'll talk soon.